The third and final part of our off-season, our very first off-season. A lot's had to be done and we're not done yet. Now, the general consensus seems to be that the offense is good enough as is, especially with the players we already have not yet being done in terms of growing, in terms of being past the age of 26. Defensively is where things are a little bit weak at the moment, and I do agree that we need to improve our defense. Obviously, Jacob Chychrun is going to be a few years away. It helps, too, that we need to have a good season because we don't want the picks that went to Tampa for the Stamkos signing to be decent picks. We want to have a decent year. Now, I don't think we'll make the playoffs, but that should at least be the goal. But here's the problem. I don't necessarily feel comfortable in terms of the players we are looking to trade. Markstrom, Spiza, Jordan Subban, Yannick Hansen, Alex Killorn, and Jacek, whatever the hell you want to call him. Those are the 6 guys we are looking to move at the moment. We could potentially move Ben Hutton if we made a trade for a defenseman. The bottom line is, I don't think it's worth it because the people we can afford in terms of that short list of players, the people we could actually afford to acquire, I don't really think are worth going overboard for. I do have kind of a target list at the moment, and I just don't think it's worth going after any of these guys. From Anaheim, you have a trio of Fowler, Vatanen, Shea Theodore, Buffalo, Rasmus Ristolainen, Ty Berry, Eric Jelena, and Nikita Zadorov from Colorado, Darnell Nurse, Eunice Brodina, Matt Dumba from Minnesota, Larson and Severson from New Jersey, Gostisbehere, Hag from Philly, or even Olli Mata from Pittsburgh. I just don't think it's worth it, so we are still going to go the route of trying to replenish our draft picks with those 6 players. And the main reason I made that decision was because of who the upcoming free agents are in the next offseason. And I did want to say this about Jacob Chychrun really quick before moving forward. He is, of course, a CHL player, so we're not going to be signing him because we couldn't send him down to Utica anyway. But back on track here in terms of who the upcoming defensive prospects are that we could potentially sign. The gem being Victor Hedman. He is a UFA at the end of the year. He'll want a gigantic contract, and that is something I'm really trying to keep under the microscope here, is managing our cap. With Steven Stamkos' $9 million cap hit, you know, in 3 years, Austin Matthews is going to want a really big deal. So that's something we're really going to have to worry about in the future. But Victor Hedman will be available in the next offseason as well. Kevin Shattenkirk, 27. That fits right into the age bracket that we want. He could be a great signing. And from San Jose, Brent Burns, a little bit older, but I certainly wouldn't mind having him on our team. Aside from that, you do have a couple RFAs and Calvin DeHaan from the Islanders, the aforementioned Damon Severson, Nathan Beaulieu, Petrovic from Florida, Jelena on Colorado, and even Billy Polka from the Chicago Blackhawks, all of whom might not be signed. As far as UFAs, you also have someone a little bit weaker like Dmitry Kulikov. But those 3 guys being free agents in the upcoming offseason, Hedman, Shattenkirk, and Burns, are the reason why we are not going to make a trade for another defender right now. We will absolutely have that be the main point of the next offseason, to get one of those 3 guys. Now, getting into our first move, and I will say this about the trading in general. As much as I give the GMs in this game flack for being stingy, I am just as stingy, and I demand that I get fair value. The problem is there were 3 types of teams that we could trade with. Number 1, teams with a very low contract total, like the New York Rangers or the St. Louis Blues, who are really in trouble with the cap. That was the one type of team, but we couldn't get that to work in terms of trading for a first round pick because we would have to take guys with contract back, and it just wasn't working out. The second type of team would be the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Arizona Coyotes of the world, whose first round pick was just way more valuable than what the value of our guys were to begin with, and I'm certainly not throwing in any more picks. And then you have the third type of team, and really in the Eastern Conference, there were only 3: Boston, Florida, and Philly. Boston and Florida finished 4th and 10th last season. Philly finished in 22nd. So it sucks to have to give up Alex Killorn, but our forward prospects made such good potential, it just kind of labeled him as obsolete. Lucas Spiza, decent player. I would like to have him, but I just love our defensive prospects right now. He's the odd man out. And Jordan Subban, he may grow to a sixth defenseman, but we already have people in that role, and we're only going to get more people in that role. So from the Flyers, we hope to get a first-round pick and a third-round pick. We also take on the contracts of Belmar, Van de Velde, and Peterson for 1 season, and then of course we'll just let them go. Let's see if this goes through. It does not. Now, unfortunately, the proposed deal with Philly would not go through, but I know for a fact this deal will go through with the Florida Panthers. Similar structure, we get a first and a third back, which of course we are missing from the Stamkos deal. Let's do this. I'm sorry, Killorn, Spiza, and Subban. It's probably not the best deal we could have gotten from them, but once again, we have a first round pick. Now, you guys know I love to hoard draft picks, and unfortunately, we couldn't get a team to bite in terms of giving up a third round pick for Markstrom, but we don't need him, and Jacek has fallen to AHL top 6 potential. We are sending them both to division rival Anaheim for a shitload of picks, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, and a 6th over the next 2 seasons. Jeff Zatkoff will automatically be called up, and we will take that trade. And our last trade is Jannik Hansen to the Arizona Coyotes for Craig Cunningham, their 3rd next year, and a shitload of other picks, a 4th, 5th, and a 6th, I believe. I honestly didn't expect that to go through. I'm very disappointed that I couldn't get teams to give up a 2nd round pick for Hansen, but it is what it is. We just had to get this trade done. We had to get him off of our books. Cunningham is a UFA at the end of the year. Our last bit of business before the roster is finalized is to sign Jasek's replacement. That will be Jesse Puljujarvi, who will now get the time down in Utica on his entry-level deal. Correction, our final bit of business is to offer one more shady contract because we are in another salary cap situation after trading away Killorn, Hansen, and Spiza, now that we are missing their cap hit, and that man is going to be 36-year-old Manny Malhotra. Now, it won't be a full contract. As you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, we have a 17 mil. So I'm going to sign him to a deal. I'm thinking about $8 million. I'm thinking we'll sign him to about an $8 million deal for 1 year, just to give us a little bit more flexibility. He and Mark Savard will just sit on the roster, take up a roster spot, but that'll give me the flexibility, because right now as it is, we cannot send down Cunningham and Puljujarvi to Utica as it stands. So that's good enough. Just shy of 8.5 mil for Manny Malhotra. Let's skip ahead until he accepts. And there you have it. 4 days later, Manny Malhotra signs his going away present. A nice contract for him. Let's get the roster set up and we'll take it from there. So one more time, we'll have a look at the rosters, and of course now is the time where I will pose the question to you about captaincy, but give me 1 second on that because we have had some overall changes. I believe Jimmy Vesey was an 83, he is now down to an 82. I think Horvat may have dropped. A couple of these guys definitely dropped in overall after the roster move, which is pretty disappointing because there's nothing in the morale log. Defensively, we still have Tana, Parayko, Tramp. See, Stetcher was definitely higher up than that, and Corrado also dropped an overall point. So I have no idea what's going on with that, but regardless, the team is what it is. Eddie Lack, though, is up to an 85. Zatkoff to an 82. So in the NHL, you know exactly who is on this team. The first question posed to you is, should we have a captain at all? Should somebody wear the C? Our second poll, which should be popping up here in a couple of seconds after that one drops off, our second poll is essentially who should have the 3 A's if we don't have a captain. The names you see on the poll will be my suggestions for who should have the letters. There will also be a poll down in the description, and you can also let me know down in the comments below. I will take all the information and put it all together. But let me know as far as the NHL goes. Should we have a captain? Should we have 3 alternates? And who should they be? One last look at the defense. Let me know, guys. And in the AHL, it's the exact same question. Should we have a captain or should we have 3 alternates? And of course, the poll you will see after that are my suggestions for who it should be. But again, let me know in this poll on screen with the little icon, Jesus. With that little icon in the top right hand corner, not sure where it is on mobile. I think it's in the same spot. Click on that poll. Let me know. Again, there's a secondary poll down in the description, and you can also let me know down in the comments below who will be wearing the letters in this season going forward. But I'm finally, just so finally proud to say that the off season is over and we are moving in to season 2. How good of a team will this be, especially now that we've had some guys drop an overall for seemingly no reason? Who the hell knows? But I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes down. How big of an impact will Stamkos and Austin Matthews have in the season going forward? As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode as we start Season 2 of my Vancouver Canucks GM Mode series. I'll catch you next time.